What's up, family? Today, we're talking about how to build unshakable confidence as a father. Now, think back to things you're very good at in life outside of fatherhood. Reflect on that, whether it be sports, public speaking, how you show up at work. Just think about how good and talented you are in certain areas of life that does not pertain to you being a dad. Okay. After you've thought about that, try to apply the same level of confidence to your role as a father. Right? Just sit with that and try to apply the same level of emotional confidence. Usually, this is an experiment that ends up low key sad almost because most fathers have a hard time acknowledging and speaking up for their confidence in their role as a dad. And this entire talk is going to be about why that is. And I'm also going to give you some shared experiences and some practical techniques and tips for you to build unshakable confidence as a dad. Before we go any further, just an introduction of myself for the folks who are new here. My name is Odini McBean. I am a mindful fatherhood coach, and I'm a proud dad of a 13-year-old boy and a 3-year-old baby girl. My main mission on earth right now is to help dads break generational cycles, help dads be in tune with their emotions, help dads parent more mindfully, and help dads connect with their children. So, if that is something that you are interested in, consider sticking around for the end of this video and subscribing to the channel. Let's get into it. So, what is true confidence as a dad? I think two things come up when I think about this. The first one is people often think of confidence as bravado. They think of it as being something that is outward. I think when it comes to being a father, the real confidence is the inner knowing. And that's where we get tripped up a lot because we don't have this inner knowing oftentimes that I'm enough. I'm great at what I'm doing. And as with most things, the reason for that is how we were brought up, societal expectations. We are not, our role is not taken as serious in our children's lives by a majority of society. So we consume all of this, we reflect on our past, and it shakes our confidence in how we are able to show up for our child. It shakes our confidence in that inner knowing. So just to define what I think confidence is, true confidence is, it's not this outward, yeah, I got this. The real confidence lies inward. Once you understand that inner confidence, we are able to show up truly confident in our moments, in our experiences as a dad. Okay. So let's talk about some common reasons why dads lose confidence or why it's hard for them to even find it in the first place. So, one thing I'll automatically jump to most times, because this is just the reality of it, and we got to be okay with tapping into this, is we have uncovered childhood wounds, right? We have wounds from how our fathers treated us, how our parents treated us, the type of love that we didn't get. And all of that type of stuff blends into our ability or lack of our ability to show up as confident fathers, right? We just have these unresolved childhood wounds. So my father, who I speak about often, was not a present dad at all. Physically, emotionally, was not a present dad. I've lived with him for almost my entire life, but he was not present, even though he was there. He was just a financially present father. Now, I gain confidence when I think about that from my dad, and I also lose confidence. I'll tell you how. I gain confidence when I think of my dad because he was not showing up how I'm showing up for my two children. right? I'm at every single basketball game. I'm at every single parent teacher conference. I'm showing them how to do this. I'm showing them how to understand life. I'm teaching them how to be in tune with their emotions. I'm giving them hugs. I'm telling them I love them. I am there, right? My dad was not that. So that gives me a lot of confidence. That hurt me. I needed that from him, but I used that to give me confidence in how I show up today with my own children. So that's how my past relationship with my dad and what he didn't provide gives me confidence. That same person, when I reflect on his relationship with us, also makes me lack confidence because of the ability to provide. That's all he did was provide, provide, provide. He set a gold standard for that. So what happens is when I go through ups and downs, when I go through some adversity, especially if I go through any financial hardships in the past, I automatically compare myself to my dad. And now I feel I'm not confident. Now I feel I'm not good enough because it seemed like no matter what, my dad always provided. And I strive to be that way when I'm going through the pits. Real story, I quit my job last year to start this business of coaching dads how to be mindful, and everything was going great until the summertime. It was just not going good. Oh, I was perceiving it to not be going good. And that came with a lot of emotional and financial burden. I also had went through a 3-year custody battle with my son's mom a few years ago, and that came with a lot of emotional and financial burden to the point where I had to ask people for money to help me pay for food for my son and I at certain points in my life when I was going through those things. Automatically made me lose confidence in how I'm showing up, automatically made me lose confidence in, am I doing enough? And I was comparing myself to my dad. So that's an example of how one person, one childhood figure, can give you confidence, but also take it away from you. And he's not doing this intentionally. He's not standing in front of me like, I'm going to take confidence away from you. So, this is not his fault. I have a lot of empathy for how my dad showed up because he was just doing what was taught to him. So make no mistake, this is not a video, this is not a section of about, my dad is the reason why and I hate him. No, like I understand and I empathize, but the reality is I have to understand at first before I can make the change, right? Another reason is societal pressures. I always talk about this story. I was in a hospital room with my son and his mom. He had a surgery where his appendix had to be removed. Many doctors, many nurses for 2 whole days, and not one time when these nurses and doctors came into the room, and they came into the room 20 times for both days. Not one time did anybody give me any direct eye contact. Every single update, every single feedback, anything, information they gave to his mom. And we were both in the room. I'm 6'3", she's 6 foot. We're both visible people. And they didn't even look at me. They just, every single attention to detail, eye contact was given to the mother. And it was as though I didn't matter, right? I'm in there, but it was like, I don't care. But I'm in the room. But it was like, we don't care about what this guy thinks or, what he wants to know. We're just going to look at mom and give mom all the eye contact and all the information. That's society, and that's what society does. And that would make you feel unconfident in your role, right? So the first one is unresolved childhood wounds. The second one is societal expectations, societal pressures, and just how society treats you in general. Trust me, I get it. I can relate. And whoa, I'll be dead honest. I just had a major technical malfunction, but we're back. The third reason why we lose confidence as fathers is because we have this thing where we do not forgive ourselves for past mistakes. It's a human nature thing to do, but that's a thing that dads do a lot. We have a hard time forgiving ourselves for past parenting mistakes. So, we could be thinking about, man, that one time I was really tough on my child. I snapped. I didn't provide the way I should have emotionally. Man, my child really wanted to go here. She really wanted this, but I couldn't provide that for them at that moment. I didn't have the finances. Like I'm losing confidence in my role. That's what we do. We cannot forgive ourselves for past mistakes. And the more and more we do the inner work to try and A, label it, but B, have some self compassion and not judge ourselves for whatever mistakes we're mulling over, we start to uncover that emotion of self forgiveness. So that's the third reason, right? Is that we have a hard time forgiving ourselves for past parenting mistakes, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is what I call the three pillars. Everything is a pillar in my world, right? So the three pillars of a confident dad. The first one is to be present, and that's always going to be in any pillar I give you, is because that's what this is all about, being a present dad. And when I think about being present, remember, I'm not just talking about being there physically, right? You got to have this inner knowing. There has to be this presence. There has to be this emotional presence, this mental presence that allows you to not only connect with what's going on inside, it allows you to fully engage with your children on all levels of the scale, right? You got to be present when they're behaving amazing. You got to be present when they're behaving terribly, right? We have to be present in all of that. And when I say be present, I'm not just talking about, oh, I'm a genie, now I'm here and I'm present. I see you acting wild, I'm present. I see you doing good, I'm present. No, I'm talking about tapping in tune, getting in tune with their emotions, like asking them, like, yo, what's going on? You okay? Right? That's what presence is. It's not just being there while it's happening, it's taking that extra step and how can I help you? What's going on? Talk to me. Listen to them without thinking you already know what's happening. Just act like you know nothing and just be present with them. So the first thing is to be a present dad. Engage with them through all of their ups and downs. The second way to be, I would say a confident dad is to always remember to stop striving for perfection, right? Stop striving to be perfect. Let go of that myth of a perfect dad and just relax in being authentic. That's the best thing you can do. And the third one is realizing that you are enough. I call this enoughness, right? Just realize that and trust that you already have, you possess everything your child needs. Quick story, when I was going through my custody battle and I was spending thousands and thousands, upwards of $80,000, putting myself in debt to have my son half the month, I had moments where I felt like I didn't have enough of what he needed, right? I wasn't enough. And it wasn't until I reflect on the situation, I started thinking about how happy my son was during those moments. I mean, he's happy today, but he was very happy back then. But if you let my story tell it, my inner critic tell it, I didn't have enough. But I had a roof over his head. I paid rent every single month. I had a TV, Wi-Fi. I had a car. We went to the park. We played basketball. We watched movies together. We bonded together. He had a room and a bed to sleep in. We cooked together. I took him to school. I did so many things while I was going through that time that actually now when you look at it, you're like, wait, I was enough. I did have enough. So once we stop letting our inner critic tell us that we're not enough for our children, we start to realize, like, no, there is a lot of enoughness here. So those are the three pillars of a confident dad: being present, stop striving to be bigger or better, right? Just relax into who you are. And the third one is to realize that you are already enough for all of your child's needs. All right. So the next thing I want to give you is just some practical confidence building techniques for dads. And the first one is to reflect a lot about times where you showed up amazingly, right? That example I just gave you is a good one. Another one for me is I remember when my son was super sick. This was some years ago. And I had him for like an entire week by myself. And his fever was like 104, 105. It was bad. Like he was really sick. And I remember thinking to myself, can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this by myself? And one of the issues is, why was I even thinking that, right? It's because of everything I just said before. Everything I just said prior to this moment is why I even had that self-doubt creep in. And I'm telling you, I had a paper and I wrote down every single hour that I gave him Pedialyte, how much water he drank, every single time he had soup. And I tracked his temperature like every 3 hours. And I mean, I did this for like 4 days straight. And around day four, day three, his temperature was dropping. And I'm like, oh, this is good. And I felt so proud of myself, right? Because here I am, and his fever went from 104 to a regular temperature. And by day four, he was a happy kid again, running around and eating all his food. And I just think of that moment sometimes when I'm losing confidence in my abilities. I think of that moment, I reflect like, man, I really did that because I went into that doubting myself. So that's a practical thing that you can do to build confidence, is just reflect on those moments when you felt the most successful in your role as dad. Another thing is I use mirror affirmations, and I know, here we go again, right? Affirmations. You hear this in every video probably online. The thing about affirmations is they don't mean anything unless you feel into them. And so what I tend to do is I'll be in the mirror, and I do this for myself outside of being a dad as well. I go into the mirror and I'll just say, I'm enough. I have everything. My children love me. But I just feel into that. I look myself in the mirror in the bathroom. Yep. And I just feel into what I'm saying. And that's the difference between just routing off sentences in front of a mirror and calling them affirmation, and actually feeling it. Feel the thing that you're saying inside. Don't logically try to think about it. It's not an intellectual thing. Just feel what you're saying. Your body should expand. And those mirror affirmations help me a lot when it comes to building confidence as a dad. And so those are some things for you to think about. Think of the spontaneous moments where your children gave you just like unconditional love. Maybe it was a I love you that you weren't expecting. Maybe it was some physical touch that you weren't expecting. Maybe they gave you a compliment about how you're showing up. Think of those moments as well. And all of these things will definitely help you with your self confidence. This topic is inspired by a prompt in my 365 Dad Journal. 365 daily prompts to help dads reflect mindfully, be more self aware, and connect deeper with their children. If you want to check it out, the link is in the description. I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you for watching this video. I'm proud of you for taking the time to work on yourself to be better for yourself and your children. Society is not really pushing that for us, and we got to be the ones to start being accountable for that. I'll see y'all next week.